All right, what's up, everyone? Thank you all for waiting patiently. This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice Show, joined today by Nolan Kelly after EMAC yesterday. So Nolan's going to have all the news and notes from this morning's skates. Nolan, how are you doing this afternoon?
It's happening. Ready for the last night of our NBA friends who've been just taking money off of me instead of me taking money off them. So
Yeah, you got one night to right
to
the
get it all back.
wrongs. Yeah, exactly. Some big tournaments for a four gamer.
Yeah, yeah, should be good.
Hopefully the tournaments stay big-ish. I know they're not going to stay, this size, but it's nice to see them filling. So hopefully some people stick around and keep playing NHL. Tomorrow will be telling because I think we do have a pretty good slate. So hopefully DK especially throws out some pretty good contests and tries to keep NHL alive. But
I
yeah,
wouldn't bet on it, but you never know.
no, I wouldn't bet on it. It's just wishful thinking, I think. Some people in the chat talking, a couple people on winning streaks. That's very nice, Mike. Awesome job there. And then someone else said that they won like $1,000 last night, maybe. Just another
Nice.
horror podcast. Okay, $20 single entry won $600. Yeah, that's awesome. You made the lineup, so we can only take so much credit. I won 2 tickets to the $10 contest, and I know nothing about hockey. Someone help. That's what we're here for, hopefully, so we can shine some light on some ways to play tonight. Not necessarily the only play, because me and Nolan both multi-enter. So
Yeah,
diversification, big part of our strategy. Jason from Premium Chat, I won $1,000. No, that is not thanks to me. You're the one making the lineups, so. Favorite goalies, we'll probably talk about them as we go. We both kind of skip over goalies. I don't know, do you find them super important when talking about the slate in general?
yeah. Unless there's like a standout one, I think no. I don't generally talk. I think like we both tend to correlate more often than not. I think like I'm more likely to take a random goalie with a good win percentage if my lineup is a little chalkier. Like if I'll take a sort of flyer, but generally speaking, I'll correlate if I can. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like when you're correlating, it's kind of disingenuous to say that you think this goalie is so much better than the other one when it's really, when you're using an optimizer, it's kind of just like goalie goes in last for me at least.
yeah,
So it's tough to say which goalie is going to be best night to night. It's such a volatile position anyways. I know a lot of people in NBA are probably really frustrated if you're playing limited lineups and you're seeing some of these goalies just completely implode and get pulled. So kind of like pitching in baseball, which is coming up.
we've had like probably the two weirdest nights in a row. These last 2 nights that I can think of the entire year, right?
Yep.
Like last night, no one going off, multiple guys injured or like taken out of the lineup in warm-ups, random low-owned lines, chalk not going, and then the night before the 8-7 game, and like Kucherov and Point, I think weren't on the winning lineup, and they had like 4 or 5 points each. Like
Yeah.
it's just I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, so last night you almost never see that kind of late breaking injury
No.
news that close to lock or after lock. So if you were on that, maybe a potential edge. Yeah, McDavid was out.
Yeah, so he ended up being 10% owned, and Point, who was out as well, ended up being 5% owned. So there's probably about like I don't know a good solid 10 to 12 or 12, probably 13% of people drawing dead. But
Yeah.
if you have Minnesota like me, you did not capitalize. You're probably better off putting McDavid in there.
Yeah, it's Minnesota. Just the tilt continues. The weeks-long tilt of playing wild players, skaters especially.
Yeah.
Really tough. So, I don't know what that means, Miles. But anyways, what do you think about this one? 4 games. Any big ownership
so-
spots?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're both going to be on Detroit 1. I think that's going to be popular. And then the question, of course, always comes back to what are you going to do with, or recently anyways, what are you going to do with Chicago? Kane's going to be probably 30. He was 35% owned in the Ottawa game. He's probably going to be 30% owned, I'd imagine, tonight, maybe more even. I don't know. There aren't a lot of great spots elsewhere, and Chicago's killing it. So you pretty much have to decide what you're doing with Chicago here, whether or not you're going to go at weight, underweight, all in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been fading them for a while. It's not doing too well. I had a couple full Chicago stacks the other night though. It was close to hitting, but yeah, I don't know. Like the game stack, maybe with the 8-7 game, that's going to be a popular play since it's not usually all that popular, I think, in NHL DFS. But now that we have, we're two nights removed from an 8-7 game, it's probably going to be a little more popular tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think people will be on Chicago. I think that makes sense. I'm playing some Chicago.
Yeah.
It's tough, right? Because and this is going to be the first game we'll talk about, so we can just kind of go into it.
Yeah.
Blackhawks 3.5 implied total. Detroit 3.5 as well. It's up to a 7 total. Just wild stuff.
Nuts.
Ward and Howard and net. Both guys who we have seen have decent performances at times, and also we've seen be really, really bad at times, especially in Cam Ward's case. So this Blackhawks top line gonna be pretty chalky. I've got FanDuel pricing up. I'm gonna switch to DK quick. It's like just talking about it's tough because I've been wrong on Chicago a bunch of times recently, but they keep getting these really good matchups when we think that regression's coming. So like the regression's coming at some point. They're not going to continue this power play nonsense, but I don't know that it's coming tonight. So I'm playing Taves and Kane and Kajula, probably going to be underweight a little bit again. So that's just more of a numbers thing. That's not me intentionally trying to get underweight. I do like some other stacks close to or even better than them.
Yeah.
And then the second line for the Hawks, they're like scoring, but they're really expensive now. Like DeBrincat's price is probably warranted, but like Strome and Cahoon are not free anymore.
Yeah.
The third line, I think, is one that I'll go to as a filler. In fact, I played a lot of them in my last crunch. So I'm okay being pretty decently overweight. I don't know. What do you see on Chicago here?
Yeah, so I mean, I think like Chicago 2 is not really getting a ton of ice time either. Like they're sort of like they've just been outperforming and their salaries are up. So again, though, another great matchup in Detroit. I still think I think for large GPPs, you're probably if you're mass multi-renting, you can't fully fade Chicago. If you're just entering like a lineup or two, you might want to consider just like not playing them and sort of seeing what happens and trying to get that leverage off of the ownership, off of the really high ownership, because I'm guessing 50% of people are going to have some Chicago in their lineups tonight, right? And then on the flip side of this, Detroit 1 has such ridiculously good numbers that they're probably going to be owned as well, but maybe if you were to pair Detroit 1 with Howard, you'd have a fairly unique combination, because I don't think people are going to be going to Howard at all tonight.
Yeah. I'm not having a ton of Howard. I'm probably around the field in like 10% range.
Yeah.
But I don't know where Ward's going to be owned. I doubt he's going to be very owned either. When you see a 7 total, I don't love the goalies here, but probably going to be I'm going to have decent ownership to Howard. So not saying I love him. I'm trying to correlate a little bit tonight, at least with like 2/3 of my lineups. So short slate here, and then I love Detroit 1. Of course, Larkin, Bertuzzi, Mantha. I'd like Nyquist to be up there instead of Bertuzzi, but you still get Larkin and Mantha on the top power play. They're going to get this Taves line, I think, for a lot of the game, and if not, they're probably going to see some time against the Strome line, which is an even better matchup. The Taves line is allowing 20 high danger chances against per 60 almost, which is just outrageous.
But the both lines are around 20 high danger chances against.
So
right?
either way, like they're just gonna have such a good matchup. I don't know how you really pass up on Detroit 1 here with how good Larkin's been, how good we know Mantha can be at times too.
They are, as a line, averaging 23 high danger chances for this season, which is, I mean, it's only 35 minutes, but that's probably the best in the NHL. I don't know. I guess the sample size is small, but that's an insane number. So
Nyquist.
Almost 40 scoring chances for.
Yeah, when it's been Larkin, Nyquist, they've been awesome. Larkin and Mantha, I wouldn't expect to be a downgrade at all. Bertuzzi's been fine in that wing too. The only issue with him is he's not on the top power play, but it's really the even strength matchup. Anything the power play does for Detroit, which it could do damage against Chicago's last ranked kill. It's just kind of extra. So I think it's a good price on Detroit 1. I think it's obviously a great matchup. That's going to be my highest exposed line of the night.
And then news and notes as well. Nicholas Kronwall is off the power play 1 for Detroit. Looks like your boy Philip Hronek is on the power play 1. So that's a huge. That's like word out of some of the beat writers there is that he's going to get a lot of playing time moving forward. They kind of want to get a long look at him. He's had a standout year in the AHL, averaging almost a point a game. He's got 10 points in 24 games this season. Probably going to see somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes, and he is 2,800 on DK and probably like pretty cheap on FanDuel as well. So as far as cheap defenseman goes or 4-man stacks, that's a pretty good way to save some cash tonight.
Yep. It's just not often you get a guy at 2,800 in a good power play matchup, or at least against a team with a really bad kill, and then he's playing with talented players like Larkin, especially, but also guys like Mantha, Athanasiou who can score at 5-on-4. So Hronek, if you don't get to him because of your line of construction, I think that's fine. But some people were talking about just outright fading him. I don't think he's going to be to a point where you're going to have to worry about that. He's not really a well-known commodity in DFS.
Fading Hronek?
What's that?
Fading Hronek?
No, yeah, I don't think you should do that.
No.
Especially if you're
he'll
playing
only be like 10% owned, right?
Exactly.
Like if Sergachev is 15% with Hedman out, like what's he going to be? 10, maybe less than 10.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my point, kind of. Maybe the minutes aren't huge for Hronek, but if he gets anywhere near 20 plus power play 1, I think he should be up there as one of the highest owned defensemen, and I'm not sure he's going to see that kind of ownership.
Yeah, and not a great matchup for your boy Giordano tonight. So I'm sure you'll have 80% anyways, but still.
Yeah, we'll get to Giordano. He just projects so well on an individual basis, no matter who he's going up against, for me. So I do actually still like Giordano, but you like any of these other defensemen here? Green, Gustafsson, Keith, Forsling? Any of these guys catching your eye?
Yeah, I think Forsling had a goal the other night, right? He was one of the scorers in that 15-goal extravaganza, so I think he's not a bad play at that price. Seabrook is out again for the Blackhawks, so you're going to see a bump in minutes for some of these guys. Keith's still reasonably priced, and he had 26 minutes last game, so I think you can go to a lot of these spots as well. Gustafsson just whiffed, and that sucked, but sucked for me anyways. But yeah, he's still getting the minutes and the power play 1 time, and is a fine correlation play, but he's priced up, right? So he's priced in that range where you'd expect like an elite defenseman on a slate like this, and 4th highest defenseman. So I'll get to some of him, but it's not like, I think he'll probably be underweight at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't really love any of the Chicago defensemen. In that I'm not
even Keith.
I think Keith's fine. I think all these guys are priced appropriately, good power play matchup for the Hawks. So you get why Gustafsson's priced up, but there are other guys that I love. So even though I am playing some Chicago 1, I'm hoping they do most of their damage on even strength, and we don't see a big game from any of these defensemen, and we see big games from defensemen elsewhere. I think we should also mention Mike Green here, just as a kind of contrarian play. 5K B value from Osmo's grades. I have him as a pretty decent value as well. Guy that shoots a lot in spurts, not too much as of late. But yeah, just wanted to mention him. Because of the PP2, he's probably not going to get too much attention. But you could still play him with the Larkin line, I think.
Yeah, that's a great call, actually. His ownership discount's going to be great just because he's not on that power play 1, but he still gets 25 minutes. He probably correlates extremely well with Detroit's top 6. Probably going to get a lot of offensive zone time. So, yeah, I like that as a pivot off the kind of the chalkier 4-man stack that you're going to see with Hronek on there.
Yep. Someone asked about a power play stack for Chicago. I don't think anything's going to be sneaky on either side of this game. Yeah. So, if you like
it'll be used, there'll be 4-man stacks, 4-man forward stacks, full 5-man stacks. I mean, if you really want to get creative, you would probably take off, Taze, Kane, Gustafsson, DeBrincat, and Kajula is on there?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Kajula's with Taze and Kane at even strength. You're looking at the power play. Strome?
Yeah. Strome and Anisimov, or Strome and DeBrincat from the second line?
Yep.
So if you want to get creative, you would probably maybe like leave off a Taze or something, or leave off.
Right.
I don't know. Like that'll at least give you a unique power play stack. But yeah.
Yeah. 4 game slate.
The 4-man stack is not a secret.
Yeah, I don't think you have to go crazy with power play stacks. There are a pretty good amount of good spots, I think. So I'm gonna try to stay away from the power play stacks. I think it's gonna get utilized a lot, especially for people that are using Fantasy Cruncher because pricing is pretty soft. When you look at how the lines shook out, especially in Colorado, that opens up a ton of value. Calgary, same thing. So
yeah. So you're going out weight with Chicago.
I don't know where their ownership's going to be. Like, I'm probably going to be at or around the field on Kajula and under on Taze and Kane because I'm full stacking them or kind of nothing. But that's how it's going to be. That's how it's been. It's not me being stubborn here. I just like some other lines better.
Just answering. I've seen a lot of Cronwall chat tonight, and I don't really get that. Cronwall. For like, you don't want to play Cronwall tonight. I would think like we've talked about Cronwall just because he's been on the power play one, and that was his only redeeming quality because that he doesn't really do much else. So he'll get some minutes and but he's just like he's such a low event player, and now he's not on the power play. You'd far rather go with a higher upside player like Hronek for GPPs. I think.
Yeah, I don't think you need to ever worry about Cronwall even when he's playing unless on the top power play. So Hronek or Mike Green, I think, is the way to go here for Detroit, and that's really about it. Any goalie talk before we move on here?
Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna be overweight on Howard and just cross my fingers again because it's all going so well lately. So
yeah,
Chicago Fade's working wonders.
More Howard for me than Cam Ward. I'll say that and kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. We've got the Jets and the Colorado Avalanche, 3.3 implied total for both teams here, Connor Hellebuck and Semyon Varlamov. In net, both confirmed. Talk about these Colorado changes here.
Yes. Did that happen in pregame skate last game? Because we knew about the power play changes. But
I thought
the line was still together. So now, like, Colorado, but it was broken up last game. Like they were used these lines for the most part. So I don't know. I missed that. I don't know if anyone else caught it, but basically the big three has been broken up. They're broken up on the power play. It's Kerfoot, McKinnon, Andrigetto, Soderberg, Renton, and Nito, and Landeskog, Yost, and Calvert. So kind of weakens all three lines in some. Well, I don't know. Like, are you going to any of these off the top, or you just getting none of them? What's your takeaway from these sort of like spread out scoring on Colorado?
I'm playing some of all of them. So like there's not one that I'm just like outright fading. I have no idea what to make of any of these lines. But I do know that McKinnon's like obviously their best player. And he's playing.
I think the third line is probably the weakest.
I think I would agree. I'm not a big Tyson Jost guy. Calvert, we had our moments earlier in the season. Oh, what's up, Corsi? Corsi, where have you been, by the way? But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. We have McKinnon playing with two really cheap line mates. And I still think he can do damage. I don't know how the line matching is going to shake out here. And that's the other difficult thing. But I know Winnipeg's had trouble on defense. No Bufflin also hurts them. So I'm just
They've been really bad lately. Like it's partly because they're on the road and they have these terrible splits. But yeah, just like not good numbers for the Jets at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just playing McKinnon. He's just their best player, and if he does go off, there's a good chance that his line mates do reach value. And they can get you there in GPPs because they're just so cheap. They're priced like low mid-tier line here, which is outrageous when you get McKinnon. And then full power play correlation as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think I'd always rather go with the center, right? Like the center is going to drive the offensive plays. So you might as well, like he's certainly got a chance at making his line mates better. Whereas like, Rantanen on the wing is not going to be I mean, I like Soderberg as a center more, but he's not going to be like I don't know, driving the offensive production for that line.
Sure.
So, and then like power plays here, they were basically split last game. So it was 58% for the non-McKinnon line and 42 or something for the other one. So I'd expect a fairly even split again, just because McKinnon is on one of them. Maybe upgrade a little bit to Samuel Girard. We'll get to, I guess, in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then on the Winnipeg side of things, Bufflin out tonight, but Trouba is on the power play one, and he's priced up to 6K on DK and like not far off on FanDuel. So it's kind of not really a bargain for him as well. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I would probably consider playing more of the little line if Colorado 1 was intact, because then I think we'd get a pretty clear matchup with Scheifele against McKinnon and the big three there on both sides. And then you kind of get the depth against the depth, and maybe you take a shot at line A at low ownership. At least that's my thought process. But here, it kind of, I don't know what's going on with the line matching. Like I said, maybe Soderberg see some time. We're seeing in chat maybe Soderberg against the Scheifele line. That could be the case. I just don't really know for sure. So mostly it's going to be the McKinnon line for me.
We also don't even know if these lines will last, right? Like. Could
that too
probably I bet,
that too that's the issue as well. So you could, but also with that, like you could play McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog together, but that's expensive, and then maybe they don't even play together at all, and they're split up the whole game, so you're just forfeiting any sort of correlation. I don't know. It's tough.
It's an interesting, like, maybe a one-off play for a cheap EP contrarian move, right? Like, you can, because I don't know if people are going to catch on to it. Like, if people aren't on that already, then it's just you lose all your leverage. If you think people are off it completely, then you might have it as a leverage spot. But, and then, like, I don't know if did you watch any of that Jets game on Saturday night? But it was like they do not look like themselves at all. They're just like Maurice was double shifting the third line, like the fourth line was playing a lot. It was just really weird. I don't think he's happy with the production of this top line. I don't know what's going on with them right now, but they've been one of the best lines all season, but the only thing is, like, they've been terrible on the road. So I don't quite know what to do with it. I think, like, you're probably going to get it at less ownership than you normally would, but what's your take on Winnipeg 1?
I like him. Just because of how many penalties Colorado takes. And now you don't have a dominant line, and we know Winnipeg 1 can be a dominant line at times, more at home, but I really like taking shots here with Winnipeg 1 because if the games have gone like they've gone so far against these two teams, and you see a lot of penalties, and Colorado loves taking penalties, then you get full power play correlation here. I don't really love the Trouba price at 6K, but he's an okay add-on if you want to get really weird with your contrarian Winnipeg 1 stack. But I don't know. That's like the one thing I know in this game is, like, Winnipeg 1 can be very, very good at times. They're all going to play on the power play. That's like the safest thing in this game. And no matter who they go up against, I think they're going to have an okay even strength matchup as well. And then we know Colorado takes a lot of penalties too.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like it.
Yeah. So
there's also just not a lot of great lines on this slate. So you'd normally be looking at, if like Winnipeg 1 was hotter right now, you'd kind of be looking at them being like 25% owned. But I think their ownership's going to dip down, and Chicago's going to eat a huge chunk of that, right? So
yeah, I agree. It's tough to fit them both. It's
entirely possible you're going to get them at super low ownership, or like 15% on this slate, which is not bad.
Yeah, they might be under 15%, honestly. They're maybe the most expensive line now with Calgary 1 being changed. And, it's a decent total here, but they're on the road. People are going to want
coming off a shutout.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I just really like going overweight on Winnipeg 1 here and kind of sprinkling Colorado 2 and 3 and McKinnon. That's where I'm taking my stance here.
Any filler stacks here? Any filler lines? You like Winnipeg 3 at all? They had led the team in ice time last game.
I don't know. Maybe Seth likes that call, but they do have good numbers.
Sure, I'll get made fun of for it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't really have much of Winnipeg 3 or the second line, like I said. So
Ooh,
Basically
trade.
an afterthought. Yeah, Coyle got traded, but where to?
Bruins.
Bruins?
Hmm.
I was just gonna say they were looking at Mark Stone.
Is
So
that right?
um,
I wonder what that's
interesting.
going to be for.
Donato maybe
Yeah.
could be Donato. Yeah. So Russo just tweeted if it's the Bruins, the Wild have been talking to Boston about Ryan Donato.
Hmm.
So yeah, who knows?
Ryan Donato. I don't. Huh. Has he like not
Yeah.
played in a while? What's his deal?
He's been in the AHL, right? He's
AHL?
not hurt, right?
Yeah.
Homer Clee says, "Damn, wanted Stone." Yeah, if Boston would have gotten Stone, geez,
Is
that would
Homer
have
Cleese
been.
a
Yeah, he
Bruins
is.
fan?
He is.
Oh
So,
God, it's
uh,
gross.
that would be wild if they got Stone, but they still could. I mean, it's doable, I think. But yeah, that would be a pretty wild top six.
Wait, so apparently Coyle, I guess Coyle's not going to make that game time, so we can pretty much assume he won't play tonight. Oh, he won't be in the contest either, but
Yeah,
um,
he's not. No, I'm not worried about Coyle playing tonight.
yeah. Though, like, what did Russo tweet that he was on the way to the
Um,
airport?
yeah, he was on the way to the airport, and they told him don't get on the plane.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Cold world out here. No way Stone is traded within the division. I don't know. I mean, there was a chance before this, probably, and now
Oh,
much less of a chance.
yeah, I don't think Ottawa's worried about Boston. Ottawa's looking at like a 3-year rebuild. By the time that 3 years is up, there,
Yeah,
Boston may not be anything. So,
yeah. Now we
and
just
it's
get to
mental.
yeah. So now we can still play Ottawa with Stone if he stays there. What about defenseman here? Got anything you love?
Yeah, sorry, got sidetracked. Yeah, not much popping for me to be honest with you. I think like Morrissey 500. I think like if you wanted, I kind of like the cost savings on Morrissey just because we've seen the Jets alternate their power play quarterbacks. So anytime you think it's Trouba, it's going to be Morrissey. So you get the savings there. Not a bad pivot. Tyler Myers is a one-off. He gets a ton of chances. Gerard is a nice cheap option at 3,100, top pairing with Eric Johnson. And Eric Johnson always grades out really well for Osmo right now. I think it's just his minutes are up, so he'll get a lot of ice time anyways. And I think he's on this. Is he on the second? No, he's not on the power play, but still decent value there. Kind of guy you could take as a one-off with a fairly cheap price. And Tyson Berry's not doing much for me if he's not like quarterbacking the power play with those three players. But what do you think?
I like Tyson Berry quite a bit,
Yep.
actually. I think this one's going to be pretty high event and
Yep.
possibly a ton of penalties here. So I'm going to check on the refs really quick to see if maybe we give even a little bit more of a boost to some of these defensemen.
I guess he's shooting a lot. That's the one
Yeah.
plus for Barry right now. Like his minutes are down and his power play correlation is not great, but he's shooting a lot. But
Right. So it's more of a one-off thing for him because he doesn't correlate that well to McKinnon. I don't know how much time he's going to spend with McKinnon at even strength. So it's tough to play Colorado 1 with him.
Yeah.
But I do really like him as a one-off or with one of the other two lines because he still is playing with Rantanen and Landeskog in that top power play.
Wouldn't you? But if the power play time is basically split, wouldn't you rather just take the 2,000 in savings and take Gerard, who's getting more ice time? And
Yeah, no,
like,
I think Gerard is also fine. And then I also agree that Johnson's also fine. So I think they're all priced pretty appropriately. Maybe Gerard and Tyson Berry a little bit underpriced. But
I don't know why, but I always prefer Eric Johnson as like a one-off or like a non-correlation. Is that just crazy or is that something?
Johnson?
Like, yeah, Eric Johnson. Like, if I'm just picking a one-off defenseman from a team, I would take Eric Johnson over Barry or Gerard. In fact,
I mean, I'd take Barry.
but like Barry's gonna like scoring is contingent upon Colorado 1 going off, right?
Yeah, I don't know. He is shooting. Like he does shoot quite a bit.
Yeah,
so
that's probably just narrative street.
yeah, I don't know. Sharon, is that his name? Sharon, one of the worst refs in the league. All right, good talk.
Is he?
So I guess we're not getting a big refs boost here, but we're still getting a big total. So it's not too worrisome. You're just not getting that extra bump by getting guys that call a lot of penalties here, which I would have liked, but still going to be pretty heavy on this game.
Yeah. What do we got for? Do we have any standout refs tonight?
I don't know. People in chat, if you've looked at this, Homer Cleese, Corsi, if you've seen let us know. You ready to move on here? You got
Yeah.
anything on goalies?
No, I mean they're not, neither one's in either an ideal spot there. But I mean Varlamov can't heat up, and he's coming off a shutout, so don't hate him. But yeah, kind of meh. He's actually, Varlamov's price point's pretty good too, and with Winnipeg struggling offensively, I think you could make a case for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Even in the shutout, like Colorado just takes some really, really dumb penalties. It's hard for me to get behind like saying I want to play a bunch of Varlamov tonight. So even though the price is good, like I realize that it's just like when you're on the kill so much, you just have more potential for these blowout games. Yeah, Donato and a fifth for Coyle. It's a pretty good price the Wild got, I think.
Donato and a fifth, eh?
Yeah. So
you get 4 years younger. The worst power plays. Here's your power play refs. The worst ones on the night are Pollock and St. Pierre, both less than 3 power plays per game. So if you're looking for a reason to fade that Chicago-Detroit game.
All right, yeah. So it'll just be 2 Detroit 1 full line goals, and that'll be it. 2-0 shutout. Jimmy Howard, the nuts.
The problem is like with scouting these refs and looking into them is that the differences really aren't that much. And like even like Furman, who started off as like 3.8 power plays a game, he's already down to like 3.4. Like it's regressed, and they're all around 3 penalties per game. So I think if you're putting that much stock into like getting the chances of getting an extra third of a power play, you're probably overthinking it. But
wait,
that's just
Sharon is the second most power play opportunities on the slate. Oh, I thought Homer Cleese-Meni was bad.
No, he's 3.3 and Tim Peel's 3.1, so that's the highest of the slate. So you're looking at 6.4 total there, whereas the Chicago Red Wings would be at 5.7. So, but an extra average of an extra power play per game between those two refs so far this season.
Okay. All right. We got it squared away. You ready to move on here?
I drop a lot of A's, EMAC, a lot of them.
I'm surprised I haven't caught on to that just yet. All this hockey talk, man. All right, let's do the Islanders and the Flames. 2.7 implied total for the Isles, 3.2 for the Flames. Tomas Greiss expected to go, or actually it's Thomas Greiss. I always make that mistake, going up against Mike Smith. What do we have here for news and notes?
Yeah, the biggest news of the day is that Matthew Tkachuk is up on Calgary 1 and Elias Lindholm is down on Calgary 2. So that's full power play correlation again for Calgary 1. Should be interesting. You get a bit of a price discount as well with Tkachuk, and probably not a talent discount. I'd say like Tkachuk can bury him with the best of them. And then on the Islanders side, same lines. I think Kunakl's up on the Islanders' second line, which is a bit of a downgrade for me. He's been up there for the last couple games. I haven't had a chance to look at their numbers yet, but maybe you have some insight there. Dal Cole is down in the minors, and I think that's pretty much it from this game.
Yeah, there's not anything.
TJ Brody back as well.
TJ Brody back.
And James Neal out.
Yeah, Natural Stat Trick has a different name for Brody. They do the periods in between the T and the J, and DK doesn't, or the other way around. So my bad on the projections if you use mine. And he's showing up as a 0. So every time I update, I got to remember to fix that. And there's a couple guys like that too.
That's like 8 less DK points than Sam Gagner last night.
What's that? Oh yeah, Gagner. Yeah, Gagner's
less.
projection was broken because he played. He only played a couple games and shot a bunch in those games, so I only had a couple game sample on him. But I fixed it. So,
nice.
Trevor Daley. What are we talking about? All right. So Tkachuk on line 1. Definitely not a downgrade, I wouldn't think for Calgary 1, and then you're getting $1,100 in savings. So I thought I was going to get lowish owned Calgary 1 with the savings and with Tkachuk, who is a name, and still full power play 1 correlation. We're probably going to get Calgary 1 a little bit of steam, but do you think they're going to be where Chicago 1's at, or even Colorado 1 or Winnipeg 1?
Especially in lower if you're hand building on DK, then you're getting that bright green red or that bright red 1 first in points allowed. So anytime the Islanders are playing, I feel like ownership is going to be reduced, especially in the lower dollar GPPs where people aren't crunching or MMEing, so using a lineup builder. So so I think that Calgary will probably see some reduced ownership. Like on a slate like this, we'd normally expect them to be somewhere between 25 to 30% owned, and they haven't played great recently. Maybe people weren't playing that showdown slate game. But Goudreau didn't do anything, and he was like 65% owned on Sunday morning or Monday morning during the holiday. So people might not have that fresh in their minds. But Calgary 1 is just sort of going through some regression that was expected, and like they haven't been as hot as they were to start the season. So I don't know if they're kind of due for a bit of a rebound here at some point. But they're an elite line, probably the third best line on the slate right now. So second or third.
Yeah.
So
they're
just
up there
just a tough spot.
They are up there for me in like the Detroit 1 and like top 3 owned on the night for me, just because kind of betting on talent here. I know the Islanders aren't a great matchup, but every time I look at this Nelson line, which I think they might see a good amount of, or even the Barzal line with Kuhnhackl, I'm just not worried about them. Like they've got decent defensive numbers, but they're nothing special. And I think Calgary 1, with or without Lindholm, Tkachuk, whoever you put on there, with Monahan and Gaudreau, is like an elite line. We saw it earlier in the season. We haven't really seen them go off a ton as of late, especially on like main slates. So it's more of a bet on talent thing for me. And then just with Tkachuk up there, the savings, like they're really, really popping for me. So I know I don't love targeting the Islanders. I'm kind of making an exception here. And if I'm underweight on Chicago 1, this is kind of one of the reasons why. It's still a decent home total. That's one of the bigger totals you're going to see against the Islanders this year. And I think they might get the better of the offensive matchups, as they usually do on home ice.
Yeah, that's fair. If you're looking for another reason to take them, the Islanders' penalty kill hasn't been great of late. They've given up over the last 10 games. They've allowed 63 scoring chances against, which is second per 60, which is second worst in the entire NHL, and fourth worst amount of high danger chances allowed on the PK over the last 10 games. So I haven't looked into their schedule to see how many great power plays they're going up against, but that's probably a pretty good reason to get in on some Calgary and some Giordano tonight.
Yeah. Heavy Geo night. Yes, heavy Geo night. Homer Clee says. I agree.
Yep.
Don't go underweight on Chicago 1. Yeah, I know. R.I.P. me.
You can do so many interesting things tonight if you just fade Chicago, though, right? Like you can get in on Winnipeg, you can get in on Calgary and rebound spots. So
yeah. So Geo is my highest projected defenseman tonight. He's also the highest priced. So that guy usually gets ownership. I'm not worried about his ownership. I'm going to be very easily over the field. He's just so good by himself, and then he plays with 4 awesome players on the power play. Like you mentioned, Isles penalty kill hasn't been that great as of late, and I think we're just going to see Calgary as a whole go a little bit under-owned here. So I just absolutely love Giordano. Not really looking at too much else in this game besides Calgary 1 and Geo.
And Giordano. Yeah, I think you have to downgrade Calgary 2 a little bit, just because Tkachuk had that chance to score on the power play. He's just sort of like that net front presence, or like down low that can sort of jam in goals. And like Lindholm's good, but I think his numbers have been pumped up a little bit just by skating on Calgary 1 for the entire season, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. That's an interesting question.
How are you feeling about these Islanders? Would you say like they're going to match up? Would they hard match against Islanders 1, or?
I thought they might go against Barzal. It's always tough. Maybe not with Kuhnhackl there. I don't know that it matters a ton for Calgary 1. Like if they go up against Barzal, Kuhnhackl, and Bailey, like it's still not that worrisome. So, man, I don't know. And there's not really a line I want to play on the Islanders either. Like you've got full power play correlation with Nelson, Lee, Eberle. They haven't been the same the last like 20 games or so.
No, their price is finally starting to dip down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's been up, and now it's sort of getting down to the range we saw at the beginning of the year. That's going to be a spot I think to watch for the next little bit, because I mean, they're going to get ownership because they're going to be a popular filler stack moving forward, but they're so cheap now again.
Yeah, and I like the McKinnon line, which is cheaper, and they also have full power play correlation, and they're at home. And they might, they won't see a ton of the Backlund for a league. So
that's a great point. Yeah.
Ryan Pollock, 5,200. He's a guy I have a bunch in one-offs. as you can see, he's got slate winning upside. He's one of the defensemen that can score multi-point games, and he's almost never really highly owned. Like, you never see him above 7-8%. And I think we're probably going to see the same
GPP like a week ago, right?
Yep. Won me a early slate a couple Saturdays ago. So just
Nice.
a huge shot, and isn't afraid to use it. So really love him on any slate, really, where he's going to be low owned.
Yeah, great call. Gets his 20 plus minutes, power play 2 time. Yeah.
What about goalies here? 8K Mike Smith? Yikes.
Yeah, I think Mike Smith's kind of been a little bit better lately, hasn't he? Like he sort of went through a rough patch now, but he's won 2 in a row. His save percentage has been above 930 in multiple games. So you never know what you're getting with Mike Smith, but definitely don't hate it. Islanders are struggling a little bit offensively. Calgary at home, Calgary favorite. No reason not to like Mike Smith here, other than like I haven't looked into shot totals, but I'd imagine they're sort of not great, but.
Yeah, so that's my issue with Smith is like he's expensive, pretty decent chance getting the win here, home favorite and such, but he's one that can implode, and then just the shot volume is worrisome. So I don't know what kind of upside he really has at 8K. That being said, like I said, I am correlating a lot, so I'm playing some of him, but I don't think he's just like a lock and load at 8K.
Islanders averaging the second least amount of shots in the NHL this year, so it's definitely not a high upside play, that's for sure.
Yep. All right, last one of the night. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Or just quickly, you gonna have any Islanders at all? You gonna load up? You're just gonna go straight Colorado, McKinnon
No,
line?
I do have a little bit of both the Nelson and the Barzal line, but.
Yeah.
And Cruncher, they're not a priority stack for me at all. So they're going to be in like the 5% range for me. So
I like it. Yeah, and those Calgary depth lines, Calgary 4 got a lot of ice time last game. So if you're looking for like a cheap filler, maybe like Mangiapane, he's got a little bit of offensive upside and flair. Might want to think about throwing them in one lineup.
Sure. All the Calgary 4 for you. Wait, did Boom just say the same thing? Oh, he's talking about someone else. All right. Bruins and the Golden Knights. Yeah, Seth likes that one. There we go. I was waiting for him to chime in. The other one didn't do it for him, but he liked Calgary 4.
I think you already made fun of me for Jets 3, so.
Oh, okay. Bruins and Golden Knights, 2.7 implied total for the Bruins, 2.9 for the Golden Knights. Yaroslav Halak and Marc-Andre Fleury in net here. Do we have any changes to talk about?
Well, now we get a fourth line we can really talk about here. Boston 4 continually lead. I guess they're Boston 3 now.
They are,
but
Boston 3.
they're like continually leading the team in ice time over their. They get a lot of defensive zone starts, so they're basically deployed in a defensive role. I'm not going to have too much of them, but another kind of like testosterone large GPP stack. But so Colin Miller, it looks like he is going to be a healthy scratch for Vegas. You might want to check line rushes tonight if you want to roster. If you're rostering him, Nick Holden was skating on the third pairing, and then I think that he's off the power play too as well. They're just using Theodore and Schmidt as their power play quarterbacks, and then everything looks to be the same from Boston unless Charlie Coyle can catch a Concord from Minnesota to Vegas.
Yeah, I don't think Coyle's playing. I was just doing a quick search on that. And then you mentioned Miller. He's a healthy scratch. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't catch if you said healthy scratch or just that he wasn't playing or whatever.
Scratch.
But yeah, so
some of the Vegas beats were just saying like he's been terrible lately. I didn't really realize that because I've been rostering him at that low price, but hasn't really done much.
Yeah, he's a guy that does pop for me like per 60 because he does shoot a lot, but maybe he's just terrible defensively. I don't pretend to know a whole ton about real life hockey and trying to read coaches' minds. Besides line matching, I'll attempt that.
The only other note I had is that Peary was off Vegas 2 for a little bit last game. I think in the third period it was Pacioretty back up on Vegas 2. Peary was on there in the morning skate again, so this might be much ado about nothing, but possible contrarian play if you want to put Pacioretty back with Stastny and Took, then it's an interesting combination. But other than that, no news and notes.
Yeah, this one's going to be pretty under-owned or kind of forgotten as the last game of the night, like late night hammer. You're looking for something. I don't love anything, but my numbers more gravitate to the Vegas side here. Like,
Yeah.
I hate the idea of playing a line. You know, it'd be easier if Vegas hard matched here because then you know who's going up against Bergeron and just play the other line. But it's going to be some of both, which is a little bit frustrating. And even maybe the third line, too. They roll lines that consistently. So it's tough for me to want to play any of these lines or make a big stand on them, I guess I should say. They're all priced appropriately. I think I lean towards the top line, I guess. But again, Vegas's power play has been really tough. So it's not like you're getting a huge edge there, even though they're underpriced.
Such a tough one because Boston is really tightened up defensively. I think in the absence of Pasternak, they're just playing tight defensively. Both the first and second lines are putting up some pretty stingy numbers, especially Boston too. But then the flip side is like Vegas has been generating the most chances in the NHL over the past month. They've just been killing it. They're just not burying it. Their high danger goals for are like 20th in the league, and their high danger chances for are first in the league. So maybe that's just a trend. It's like we saw with Carolina before they went off, that they're just generating chances but don't finish. But this might not be the matchup to target them, but I'm going to continue to kind of roster Vegas in the hopes that they can sort of get some bounces going their way, because you can't generate that many chances and not have them go in.
Yeah, I don't know. I just looked at Boston's numbers, like last 10.
They're good, right?
They're just really tough. And you know who the best defensive team in the last 10 is, if you look at scoring chances and high danger chances and all that stuff?
Minnesota Wild?
The Minnesota Wild. It's like those two in terms of chances above everyone else, and then everyone's just kind of in the middle.
So Ducks beat them 4-0 last night. I guess that means we can target the Bruins.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mike Smith has
Bruce
empty net
Boudreau
goal.
Team. I don't get it.
Yeah. 3-0 Mike Smith with the shutout and a goal. There you go. I mean, that's how you get the Mike Smith
And
ceiling game.
Goal. Yeah.
He would be the guy that would attempt it too. Could you imagine taking down a GPP with a Mike Smith goal in a shutout? Like, that would be the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, no kidding. Or losing one on an empty netter.
Oh, I forget about that side of it sometimes. Try to think positive here. Yeah, so this one's just tough. Like, there's really nothing I love. It's like Boston 1 is the line I would like to play. Obviously, you'd like to play Bergeron and Marchand, but I just have no clue where they're going to fall on the ownership spectrum here. So, it's tough. Like,
I think this game's really just your initial take was right. It's just gonna go overlooked. Like, people don't want to roster that Boston line one without Pasternak, and people don't want to roster teams against Boston because their perception is they're so good defensively. You don't know where to go with Vegas, whether it's Vegas 1 or Vegas 2. And so like, I think we're all kind of expecting this to be a 2-1, 3-2 kind of game. But I mean, there's offensive talent on both sides. It's just that the defense probably cancels it out.
Yeah.
Boston 2's been kind of interesting though.
Boston 2 with Carson Kuhlman.
Yeah, Coleman, like Krejci, DeBrusque, they're getting ice time. They got power play correlation. They're cheap. I don't hate them.
Yeah. God, this game's just so tough. I want to really like something, but it's extra tough because you got two teams that I hate targeting. Low total. And
DeBrusque goals in 4 straight.
DeBrusque? DeBrusque is... Oh, yeah, okay. DeBrusque is on line 2. Yeah, there just aren't enough other lines on this slate if you X out this game. Well, if you're MMEing, if I was playing one lineup, I don't know that I get to either side of this game. But I don't know. Corsi, are you MMEing? Like, then yeah, you got to play some part of this game if you're making more than 5 or 10 lineups, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I can have a little Boston 1, Boston 2, Vegas 1, Vegas 2, probably like one of each.
Yeah.
If I'm doing 20 entries in that $3, and then.
So I've got 150 tonight.
You're doing 150?
Yeah, I'm playing everyone.
Nice. Are you doing that $10 at all?
Yeah, I maxed the $10. So
nice.
We'll see. I'm chasing the 50K. I know it's a bad payout structure, but just trying to win 50K for once in my life.
I like it. You gotta take your shots, right?
Right. Yeah. Maybe some people not paying attention. Maybe we get a late scratch. The potential edge there. Otherwise, there's still a showdown slate. You can still hit the nuts there. So, MME GOAT. Wow. Brand new for you. That's interesting.
You were
Anything in
close,
chat?
but you had Clefbaum last night, right?
Yeah, Clefbaum tilted the shit out of me. 2 times he's done that in the past 2 weeks.
What was your like? Just like, out of curiosity, what was the rationale for going with like Clefbaum over like Ryan McDonough? Or was it just like one of your lineups?
Okay, so I had
Clefbaum.
yeah, I had Clefbaum in like 20%. So he was a play for me. Like he was an actual play. And the thing was, so I looked on Natural Stat Trick and I saw Clefbaum actually moved on to the top power play for most of the game prior. So
Yep.
I just thought maybe there was a potential edge. Maybe he sees a few more minutes with McDavid, which you like, and then he's going to be lower owned than Nurse. And there were a bunch of guys around that price that people played, and he's got upside on his own when he's attempting shots. He was not attempting shots last night. So yeah, I mean, you make
That's great. Yeah,
like I would have made the play again tonight, but
it's the kind of thing that like if you notice he was getting some power play time, or you think he's going to take over from Nurse, like that's a huge edge, right?
Oh yeah. So I don't know. It's yeah, he was a play. I wish I could just say it was a one-off lineup, and I should have played McDonough there. I think I maybe bink if McDonough's in there, but
yeah, I think you win it.
Yeah, so
Point,
I wasn't on
points.
McDonough, so I can't just say
what are you gonna do?
Could should right? So
well, especially because
whatever.
we also thought Hedman was gonna go, so it's like it's kind of tough to totally redesign a lot of your rosters and take like a 4K defenseman over a 6K one or something. If you're, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's right. So I mean I don't know. I didn't even know I was in contention until late, and I knew I needed kind of a miracle game from Clefbaum, or not a miracle, but I knew I needed a multi-point effort and for him to probably score.
Yeah,
and it didn't happen. So the best thing you could do is, I had the 2 stacks that you needed, so that's all I'm looking to do, and then hope I'm good enough at picking my defenseman that can make it work.
That's great.
There was a question.
Any NBAers out there? You got any like questions for tonight?
Yeah, if you guys got any general questions, we've got about an hour to lock. So we should get line combos for the Chicago-Detroit game coming up in about a half an hour. Corsi, yeah, I do have Chicago 3. I'm going to be pretty decently overweight on them. I like that. MME Corsi, I like it. Who do you guys like at goalie? Down with Chipotle Addict. What did Chipotle Addict do? Yeah, I'm on. Oh yeah, you're on delay. But yeah, I am on Chicago 3.
Yeah, Chicago 3 is a nice pivot.
Favorite goalies tonight. I always give this disclaimer. I try to correlate, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm going all in or even close to all in on goalie. But my highest exposed, I think it's Fleury. Actually, yeah, it's Fleury, which I don't feel good about any of these guys.
Yeah. They're all poorly graded from Osimo. The most highly graded is Jarl Halak for Boston.
Yeah, see, I don't like that call, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if I was hand building, God, Halak's tough. I don't know. It's tough. Goalie's the worst position in all of DFS, IMO.
Yeah.
So, when in doubt, it's just good for your mental health if you're correlating.
I think
that in general is a good thing.
For cash games and like smaller GPPs or whatever, if you wanted a goalie bet, I would go. Your safe play is probably Mike Smith, and then your high upside plays. I don't know, like probably Varlamov, Howard. Yeah, I don't know.
Detroit 3. Yeah, you like Detroit 3? I have some of them. The Clendening line with Helm and Athanasiou. I mean, you're playing that line because of Athanasiou.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Or even like just if you're for some reason you're not full stacking, Athanasiou is a great one-off too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There was something else that I had. I think Seth's probably trolling. What do you guys think of leaving money on the table on FanDuel? I don't know. I can never tell. Are you playing on FanDuel? Because I'm not.
Guessing. No, I haven't played FanDuel in a while.
Yeah.
Should probably look into it. Maybe I have like $5,000 in there because I forgot to check my lineup.
I'm a bit worried about Cam Vesna with all this Detroit exposure. I mean, that would just be perfect. Terrible for me, but just perfect in, just summing up NHL DFS. Cam Ward with the 45 save shutout. So,
yeah.
Be ready for some weird stuff, people. What, you seen
yes,
anything
Miles.
else?
Miles, Forsling's a solid low-owned play, but I think we both prefer Hronik just because he's got power play one time. But I like Forsling as a punt down there as well.
Yeah, I like Chronic much better, and then I like playing even Gerard a little bit more. So if you can afford that extra couple $100, so
yeah, absolutely.
Chicago actually playing for something. Yeah, it's weird. Why? Yeah, they're all of a sudden back in the race. So I hope they're not stupid enough to be buyers at the trade deadline. Not that they can move a lot of their pieces, but
they might as well though. Like, what are they doing if they're not all in with that sort of aging core, right?
I mean, they suck. So
yeah.
Well, every time I say that, they bink someone in a tournament.
There you go. Load up on Chicago.
Yeah, there you go. I've said the
Homer,
magic
please.
words.
You got any wise words of wisdom before we tune out here? Any recommendations?
Yeah, Homer Cleese's always got the wisdom. He's got the ref matchups and all the good stuff. Chicago regression coming. Yes.
Yes.
Don't
we've been
know
talking
when.
about it for a very long time, Eric.
Yeah, I mean they've sustained this for a while, and it's really frustrating if you weren't on it. If you have been on it, and you started from the very beginning, and you're just rolling in dough, probably. I am not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did hit it off the top of the show. Like it's regression, but it might not be tonight because it's a pretty juicy matchup. Do you actually? Let me ask you a general question. I was thinking about today with the Barkov line going off because I was on Florida too because they graded out really well for Osmo, and we're in the middle of the Chicago run. How much stock do you put into when you're building or when you're a numbers guy generally? But how much stock do you put into recent form and like to guys like just like been maybe busted out of a slump recently, or versus like guys like Minnesota or Vegas or some of these other teams that are struggling a little bit? Like, do you try and get on one game before, or you just say screw it, I'll wait till they score and then get on the game after? Or do you not think about it?
I try to be first on all this stuff, so I'm a little there was no real sign of the Chicago explosion coming. It wasn't like they were just dominating people at 5-on-5.
Yeah. So once that happens, when you see it for 2 games in a row, are you like jumping on?
It just depends on how the ownership's going to go. And they're like a team people love playing. People love playing Kane and Taze. And so I think Taze especially is overrated as a DFS player. So long-term strategy is to fade it when I feel that way. But there are certain exceptions that I think you should be on them. Like I think you should be on them tonight if you're multi-entering. I don't think you should just fade them because I think regression's coming. It is still a good matchup, and you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket and fade them and tilt your face off when they score 4 goals in the first period because it's a very real possibility. So
yeah, but then you can just call it a night. And,
that's the worst, by the way, when you're just dead right away. You're like, geez.
There was one like hat trick the other night. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was DeBrincat or something. It was like some hat trick of some guy that I didn't have, and I was like, Who had the hat? Oh, maybe it was the Roslovich hat trick or something, and you're just like, well, 4 minutes into this slate. See you guys later.
Oh yeah, that's just the absolute worst. So
yeah,
150 lineups. The old joke is you could play everyone, you could cover all the combos, and that's not really the case. So there are lines that I don't even intentionally fade that I end up with 0% of. Not necessarily on a 4-game slate, but like when it gets to 5 and 6 and 7, and we get to some of these big slates. You can just be completely dead 10 minutes into a slate. So
yeah. Who's your favorite fade of the night?
Well, so again, like I'm playing
not full fade, just everyone. Like fade. Fade, like I think we get mixed up with our definitions here. For me, fade is like underweight.
So
full fade is 0.
I'm gonna be underweight on the Islanders for sure, and I know they're gonna be low owned, but I'm gonna be underweight on those guys. I think Islanders 1's gonna see double digits just as a decent filler. Definitely going to be underweight on Winnipeg 2. Going to be underweight on Chicago 2, certainly. And Detroit 2 as well. So not necessarily teams, but there are certain lines that I'm just not getting to, and it's a projections thing. I just don't have them projected high enough. So if you disagree and you're using my projections, bump up those guys on those lines, and you'll get more of them. What about you?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
I think like Chicago 2 is going to be my major fade. I don't think I'm going to have much. I might try and get to Brinkat on like a power play stack or 2, but that's going to be where I took my stand tonight. So wish me luck.
Yeah. Yeah. So
4K punt.
What's that?
Punt for under 4K.
Punt for under 4K. I mean, I like Chronic, but what about you?
Under 4K. There's not a lot. Brendan Sad's around there. How much is he? Athanasio. Like I'd rather go up to like a 4,500-ish range. Yeah, not a lot down there.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. Between 3 and 4K sucks. Yeah, it's Gerard, I guess, is okay.
Roslovic.
I'm kind of either paying up or deep punting it with
Sam
Chronic.
Bennett. Yeah.
So, in general, I hate those one-offs of like the $2,500 winger. You just never know.
Oh yeah.
Defensemen, the minutes are more safe for the most part, and so.
Yep.
Yeah. But all right, that's about good for today. I think we've got 55 minutes or so to lock. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you want to use promo code Hit the Ice, get your Patty Nemeth. Get your free month, get 50% off your first month with promo code Hit the Ice, as you see on the screen of any Osmo.com package. Nolan, thanks for joining. Good luck tonight. Take down the 50K. And
thanks for joining us, NBAers. Hopefully you can stick around and you like to play a little NHL and you enjoyed your 5-day foray into this.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a fun sport.
Yeah, Corsi. By the way, message me on something. I figured you did that. Yeah, message me on something. But yeah, join projections, rankings, all that stuff. Thanks for joining, guys. And use promo code Hit the Ice, and don't tilt too early into the slate would be my advice for you new NHLers. Good luck.